I am joy, I am rest, and I am your comfort and relief from your stress. I'm your strength, I am faith, I am love, I am power. I am your freedom this very, very hour. Yes, I am hope, I am peace, I am joy, I am rest. I'm your comfort, oh, and relief from your stress. I am strength, I am faith, I am love, I am power, and I am your freedom this very hour. I am, I am, yes, I am, I am, oh, I am, sing please, I am, I am, I am, I am.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Leanne and Coleman. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I came across a story some time ago. I've shared this one before, but I like it, and it really speaks to our lesson today. And there was a woman who actually was at the pearly gates with St. Peter, and St. Peter said to her, "Now, before you enter, can I tell you, you need to tell me what is God's first name?" And the woman kind of looked and said, "Oh, well, that's easy. It's Andy." "Andy? Well, how did you come up with that?" "Oh, we sing it every Sunday. Andy walks with me. Andy talks with me." But I know my humor is corny, but but I have fun with it. Well, this week we're going to talk about the two most powerful words that you can use. Last week we talked about the importance and the significance and the power of our words, and the power of our words to create what we want to experience in our lives, and the power of our words that we sometimes unconsciously use to create things that we don't want in our lives. Jesus said, "By your words you shall be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned." And justified, the word justified means to come into alignment. And so we use our words to come into alignment more with the divine. And we use our words sometimes to move out of alignment with the divine. We can use our words to move into alignment with our true nature, or we can use our words to move out of alignment with our true nature. And we use those either unconsciously, sometimes we're talking, that inner self-talk, that we have. Sometimes it's really very... Charles, I'm getting kind of an echo here. Can I turn that down a little bit? Thank you. A little bit hot. There we go. Maybe it's because I'm moving too far forward. No. So one of the things that we want to pay attention to and notice is not only the inner talk that goes on, but how much of that seeps out. Oftentimes when we have that inner talk going on and it's not really uplifting, it's not what we call anabolic, which is life enhancing, but it's catabolic, which is life depleting. Sometimes we'll find that builds up in us over a period of time, and it comes out in ways that are not necessarily going to bring a greater sense or experience of our wholeness and well-being in life, but it will actually diminish us. And the powerful thing about words is this also. When you speak a word, it has an energy around it, and whatever you are putting out there is going to return. It's like it bounces off this invisible wall of the universe, and it comes back to you. And so we put out words sometimes that we don't realize that we are actually enhancing and increasing within ourselves. When we find ourselves saying things that are not uplifting of others, then we find that we're experiencing things that are not uplifting from others. So Jesus said it very simply, as you sow, so shall you reap. It's very true, I think, especially true in terms of the language that we use, the words that we use in our lives. And so when we're talking with someone about something, it's important to really notice what are the words you're using, and do I want those words to return to me? to come back into my experience, to come back? Or do I want to increase whatever it is that I'm putting my words around? One of the things we talked about a little bit last week also was understanding that our words are like lasers. They actually are alignment of our thoughts. A laser light is an alignment of all of the light, I'm going to say particles, but that's not quite accurate either. All the waves of light are moving in the same direction together. And that's what this alignment can be about. And that's one of the powers of our words, is that they actually align our thoughts with a power that actually helps them to be even more intense and creative in life. And so when we're working with trying to make a change in the world or in ourselves, we want to really notice and pay attention to the words that we're using and how we're using them. And so we want to really notice the two words that I think are probably the most significant and the most important for us, and that's the words I am. So for example, how many of you would say, you know, the essence of me is sick? How many of you would say, you know, my true nature is poor? How many of you would say things like, the will of God in me is fear, or fearful, or afraid? Well, I'm going to suggest to you that we're using that way of speaking when we're using the word I am, because the I am in us is that presence of the divine in our very nature. When we're using the I am, when we're saying the words I am, we want to attach it to those things that are expressive of our divine nature, that are expressive of the truth of who and what we are. We don't say things like, and so we don't say things like, I'm so afraid of failing, or I'm sick and tired of your behavior, or I'm too poor to afford that. Because what we're doing is we're attaching that sense of identity, that sense of who and what we truly are, to something that we don't want to continue or manifesting or creating in our lives, because there's a great power in the use of those words. And so if you want to feel the power of the words I am, take a moment and just substitute this idea of it's my essence to be, and then think of how you're using the word I am. What are some ways that you have used I am that are not necessarily going to be supporting more of your unique divine nature? I'm getting weaker. I am tired. I'm confused. The essence, you know, if you were to say the essence of me is confused, is that really true? My divine nature is confused. I am overwhelmed. That's when I have caught myself saying, I'm not. That's not the truth of me. So, you know, it'd be like saying the divine is overwhelmed. Doesn't work real well, does it? She's not overwhelmed. She can handle it. And so one of the things we want to really notice and pay attention to is how we're using that word I am for ourselves. And also, I personally think it's using the word I am is really powerful, but I think really in some ways we're using the word I am when we say you are. Because we're using that word you are, and usually what we're saying it, you know, if we're not saying it in a way that is uplifting, if we're not saying it in a way that is empowering, if we're not saying it in a way that is enhancing someone's experience of their own divine nature, we are taking the name of God in vain. Either using I am, I believe that we also, when we say the word you are, because in a sense you are telling that person, you are tuning into an energy of that person that is not reflective of their true I am. And so be conscious and be aware. We talked about this a little bit last week. Don Miguel Ruiz, amazing, wonderful teacher in the Four Agreements, said that when we use our words to say something that is not uplifting or empowering another person, we're actually practicing black magic. We're actually cursing them. And so when you judge someone and you say something like "you are," and it's not something that is something you want to experience more of and upliftment of in your life, you're actually putting out a curse. And when you put out a curse, the interesting thing about curses is this: they always come back. They always come back. They come back to us in some way, in some form, and we will experience the consequences of that. We will experience the energy of that in our life in some form, in some way. And so always let your words be ones that are empowering of others, of lifting up others, of letting others know the truth of who and what they are, because that's what you want to receive back, isn't it? And if it's not, then certainly continue to say words of "you are" and then demean and judge and limit. If that's what you want in your life and you feel like that's really important to you, you have the choice. We all have the choice. We have the choice to really honor who we are by expressing that in ourselves and using the "I am" in a way that lifts us into a greater experience of our true nature and our true being. Or we can use those terms, "I am," to own and claim an identity that's not reality, that's not the truth. Eckhart Tolle really talks about how we tend to identify our nature, who we are. We tend to identify with things out here in the world. And that the very act of identifying with other things out here in the world is the main thing that keeps us separate from experiencing the truth of our unique nature. And so we are living in a world that has all kinds of opportunities, but the moment that we believe that there's something out here in the world that is who we are losing ourselves to something that is unreal, that's untrue. That's not the truth of our nature. And so we want to learn how to identify the essence of who we are, and using that term, those words, simply "I am," are words of empowerment. And you are empowering whatever you're putting in those words, attaching those words to. Make sense? And so it's an awareness, and it's a practice to really pay attention, to notice how we're using the words. When we get an awareness about this, I'm reminded of, as a child, we learned the 10 Commandments. And, the third commandment, "You shall not take the name of your Lord, the Lord your God, in vain." And so I want to talk a little bit about this. In Exodus chapter 3, verse 14, Moses is standing in front of the burning bush. Most of you know this story. He's standing in front of the burning bush, and God is saying to Moses, "Go and tell my people about me." And Moses says, "Well, who shall I say has sent me?" And the Lord responded, "Tell them, I am that I am." In Aramaic or Hebrew, that is, let's see if I can say it correctly, Ahir, Asher, Ahir. Ahir, Asher, Ahir. And that's been translated as "I am that I am," or "I am what I am." But it's also been translated as "I will be what I will be." And as I really reflected on these words, it comes to me that part of what we're saying is also, "I am what I will be." I will be what I am. "I am that I am" is also, and some of you kind of heard me say this, what is what is. And so what we're talking about is essence, reality. The words "I am" are expressing being. And so we're expressing our being when we use the words "I am." And if we're expressing our being as something other than that which is the essence of who and what we are, which is the creative source of all being, then we are misusing the words, the name, and we're using them in vain. We're attaching them to something that is not the reality and the truth of who we are. And so one of the things, so our lesson for this week really is very simple. Not easy sometimes, because we've been conditioned to use those words to connect to things that really are not the truth of our nature. And you just shared some of those. If you say things like, I am sick, guess what? You're affirming that for yourself. If you say things like, I'm broke, guess what? You're affirming that for yourself. If you say things like, I'm afraid, you're enhancing that. And so you want to change the way you use the term I am in your life. One of my good friends and teachers for many years was a wonderful unity minister named Richard Levy. Any of you familiar with Richard Levy?
Me.
Yay! Richard was such a beautiful light in this world, one of the most well-loved and respected unity ministers. And Julie and I have a wonderful story about Richard. We were actually, when we first met, we were up on Crystal Mountain, and we were pretty smitten with each other. And Richard came up and looked at us both and says, just say the word, I'll marry you both right now. Never forget that about Richard. I love that guy. But he came up with this wonderful, beautiful song that I'm going to try and do with you, and I'm going to invite you to try and sing it with me. It's a wonderful chant. I am that I am has sent me to this now moment. Here I am. I am that I am has sent me to this now moment. Here I am. To be the voice and to be the heart through which heaven is made known on earth. To be the voice and to be the heart through which heaven is made known on earth. Let's do it again. I am that I am has sent me to this now moment. Here I am. I am that I am has sent me to this now moment. Here I am. To be the voice and to be the heart through which heaven has been known on earth. To be the voice and to be the heart through which heaven is made known on earth. So I hope that song sticks in your heart and in your head through the week. And as you find yourself going through your week, just really pay attention and notice how you're using that term I am. And if it's not what you want to experience more of, change it. And I want you to join me in saying some things that I think will really help to increase your life. So I want you to say with me, I am prosperous.
I am prosperous.
Just breathe that in. I am healthy.
I am healthy.
I am loved.
I am loved.
And I am loving.
And I am loving.
And I am powerful.
I am powerful.
And I am power.
And I am power.
I am peaceful.
I am peaceful.
And I am at peace.
And I am at peace.
Can you feel that? Let that be your mantra for the week. Let that be your meditation for the week. Let that be the words that you speak to yourself and to your friends and neighbors with I am and you are. And let's move into our meditation time. So take a nice deep breath. Actually, take a nice deep breath and breathe into the heart space. And just breathe into that place inside of you where you feel that voice, that still small voice. The still small voice that is continually affirming and saying the truth of who you are. I am. And notice whatever thoughts are arising within your awareness. And just notice those thoughts and just ask yourself this question. Who's having this thought? And listen. Listen and feel within yourself. And there's something in you will say, well, me, I am. And when you feel that place in you that says, I am, when you hear that little voice that says, I am, let yourself immerse yourself into that feeling of what that feels like. And notice where you're feeling it. Notice where you feel that voice of I am. And if other awarenesses, thoughts, feelings, sensations come to you, just ask yourself, who's feeling this? Who's feeling this feeling? And then notice the little voice inside that says, well, me. Well, who am I? Ask yourself, who am I? And then breathe into that place in you where you feel the voice of I am. I am. And if there's some sound or sensation that you notice, who's hearing this? Who's hearing this sound? Me? I am. Who am I? Who is that I that is saying I am? And breathe into that place in you where you feel that experience of the voice, the sensation, the knowing of I am. If there's a place of constriction in you, in your feelings and your emotions and your body and your breathing, just ask yourself, who's feeling this? Me. And who am I? I am. And just relax into that feeling of I am. Take a nice deep breath now. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And he was speaking from the I am within himself. Take another nice deep breath and just let yourself speak I am in ways that enhance, empower, uplift, and transform the expression of your nature into the world. Take another nice deep breath. Let your awareness be present here and now in a knowing of the I am within you. And then take another nice deep breath and let your eyes come open and even look around and Let that I am within you greet the I am within all of those here present. And just give thanks. And so it is. All right, let's have our young ones come down. You, go ahead. You are alive. You are alive. You are alive in this world. You are alive. You are alive. You are alive in this world. And you shine. Yes, you shine. And you shine so bright. And you shine. Yes, you shine. And you shine so bright. Look at these radiant lights. Look at this fine young man. This young man was a little guy like this when I came here. How did you get so big, man?
I'm an adult now, so
I'm
grown up.
Fantastic. And actually, you're a candidate for something. You want to tell us about it?
Almost. I have to fill out some paperwork first, which I should have brought because I need to do this.
Maybe
Actually,
sign
yeah. So I don't know what compelled me to do this, but I thought, hey, I'm gonna try to run for Indy, which for people that don't know what that is, we have our regional events, rallies, but then we have our international event, which is like the whole country, and other countries, if they want to, can come to a big rally at Unity Village. Indies are the people that make that, and they do all the workshops. So I thought, hey, I'll try to run.
Well, we support you in that. Awesome.
So I got like two things, but they're sort of part of the same thank you. The first one is thank you for all the support that I got for my Boy Scout stuff and doing my Eagle things. I have to do one more meeting on Tuesday, and hopefully that should be it. So I'm really thankful for all the love and support I have from here. And then the other thing is since I'm almost done with all my YOU and rally stuff, I figured I would say thank you for all the love and support from that, whether it's sponsor stuff for helping me get there, anything like that. That was a big part of my life, so I'm very thankful that I was able to have y'all help me with that.
We all done good.
All right.
That's not the correct English, I realize. All right, let's bless our big kids, all right?
Unity,
Adults of Unity in the heart of Austin.
we love you, we bless you, and we truly appreciate you. And we behold the Christ you are. Namaste.
All right, big kids, let's bless our young ones. Youth of Unity in the heart of Austin, we love you, we bless you, and we truly appreciate you, and we behold Christ you are. All right, let's stand and form our circle. enfolds me.
The love of God enfolds me.
I am the love of God.
I am the love of God.
Wherever I am,
Wherever I am,
I am
I am
the presence of God.
the presence of God.
All is well.
All is well.
Thank you, God. We at Unity in the Heart of Austin are committed to inspiring people to awaken to their unique divine nature through spiritual teachings, through heart-to-heart connections, through prayer, and through sacred service. And we provide tools, spiritual tools, that allow you to live your best possible life. I'm Reverend Tony Roebuck, minister at Unity in the Heart of Austin, and I truly hope that you are inspired by and that you are transformed by, you enjoy this week's spiritual message. And if you would like to leave a donation, a tithe, to help the work of this ministry in supporting you and others like you, then we are truly grateful for your generosity and for helping to make the world a better place. Because we know that life is meant to be good.